Hi, everybody. Monday on Astral Oracles. I'm here to connect to the Quanta and to you, and connect all them to each other, and hopefully connect some others to themselves. And I mean that as the kind of central intention of what is going on in all these channelings and all the stuff I've done, and in sessions and live streams and everything, is the intention to get people to connect to that deeper sense of self within that true frequency that they have. And in the strictest of terms, that's manipulation. That's engaging with people in order to move them into a place that you would like to see them go to. But as in everything, there are there are dark and noble aspects to every phenomenon, and so it strikes me that that's the highest thing you can do if you're a chatterbox, as I was somehow born like talking. That is to try to in conversation, by the words you utter, to make people feel hopeful, inspired, connected, and maybe even somehow guided, like there is something within them that takes over and begins to move through them and operate in their life, in the world, for the better. So I think that that's kind of my vision of what the oracle is, both as an archetype, as in the intention of my practice. And that's of course also um, the play on things, that if you're forthcoming about being manipulating, right? If it's right there in the slogan, connecting others to themselves, then there is of course a type of sincerity in the intention, and I hope that's conveyed. I hope that whatever you get from this is hopefully a sense that um, that you feel perhaps just a slightly deeper connection to something that's moving through you, which is the breath of infinity, or all that good stuff. And without getting too poetic, right? But it's the divine spirit in whatever form it takes, and that is both a physical sensation. It's a mental realization. It contains information that you can um, tap into, and that's available for you at the times when it's right for you to know it. And it's also, of course, it is Holy Spirit. It is the totality of the all. But it has a very upsetting quality, spirit, and going through these things and integrating stuff, like animals and children are usually very comfortable around me. So I, for instance, often have the experience that the deer don't run when I jog anymore, because they don't sense a threat. But dogs go absolutely crazy. I had like one little dog, freeze in horror as I passed it by. I was out buying carrots and cheese, and then another dog that barks me down all the way down a street, and that's an experience that I'm fairly used to, because spirit is upsetting. It disturbs, and it rips things apart and enters them, and takes them over and fills them with life. And and that's why it's so wonderful for uh, those who are already often connected to some sort of flow themselves, which are children and animals, for instance, but also human beings who have themselves, um, like a sense of this positive wind that's somehow moving their life in whatever invisible degree that might be. And then of course it's super uncomfortable for people who are very invested in structures and like the dress up and the pretense of the human identity story. um, and that's of course also why it's super irresistible. It's to keep pointing out that he doesn't wear any clothes, the emperor. And in case you forgot, let's just remind you again that it's all just a dress up and a game, and he's also a scared, silly, confused bald monkey, but also probably full of a lot of whimsy and strange interests and compelling foibles, right? So kind of seeing humans in all their totality, which is what spirit allows us to do, but also is what spirit demands us to do. I've been reading Spiritual Emergency, a collection of essays that by the Groffs, Stanislav and Christina Groff. Um, and like it maps out these different transpersonal experiences, and just noting, for instance, that in like some of these North American shaman callings where uh, they experience being sick until they comply with the spirits. So they'll simply just they'll put somebody through hell for a decade, 15 years, and then at some point they'll be okay. Now you need to do this and comply with this, and if they do, they tap into the wellspring, and if they don't, then that's not too good. But it's been an incredible relief for me to at this point tap into just the realization that these are actually kind of normal experiences for most human societies, that there is a chunk of us that have to go through that experience, and sort of become these weird, slightly upsetting reminders to the collective that things aren't necessarily what they seem, and that the life is a play and interplay and an ever expanding and in many ways a confrontational process. Um, but we shy away from that, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to check in with my friend Flip yesterday, Dragon Lord Flip, because it's always so interesting to get their perspective, which is sublimely arrogant on why human beings keep themselves so small, and that's often the point he makes. It's just, why do you want to be chained to all these things and desires? And that's the reason you just serve up your power to other people, and then let yourselves be guided by these principles, and seen from the spiritual perspective, where you create your own reality. Then it is as if it's just these karmic codes that's moving in front in of the Merkaba, and the kind of lens of light behind it, and that's then creating this mashup of the reality that you're experiencing. And and that's then the vibrational choice you have, where you just, if you shy away from these higher, purer vibrations, then it will just keep creating things out of unconscious patterning. And I hope when I sound like these are all experiences that I of course struggle with as all human beings. I think it's very normal on the path to do so. I don't want to sound sanctimonious, but I think that's the realization then, as fear begins to dissipate, and the sushumna opens, and this sense that um like the oracle is alive in there at and sitting at the switchboard. And then there's of course like all those, also this weird emptiness where what's my cue, what's my motivation on this stage of the world of life. um, because my right hand tells you to do as I say, and my left hand tells you to do as you please, and whichever way you follow, you'll revert to the other and come back full circle. So that's just the two paths that you can take essentially. And then who's in the middle? Uh, in the middle then is the flood of life. It's the Holy Ghost. It's this uh, strange thing that contains exactly the information, the codes, the frequencies, the setting for everything to be aligned and set right in the cosmic flow. Um, that's mysterious can be to me, and that's the 12th dimension. And those are things that I can mostly approach actually in just the feeling that remains once you subtract everything else, and that is kind of a vibrancy, a strong feeling. Um, so I wanted to share that, and I also feel that I should probably share that I somehow feel like the outside is calling me, so I'll go a pilgriming for a while perhaps, and it's Saint George's Day tomorrow, April 23rd. So I think it's probably also a good time to sort of both take up arms with nature and also go out there and make my peace with it. So I'll channel the quanta and bring them through, and don't be surprised if you see me coming to you from a wood somewhere. Much love to you out there, guys. Yes, we have been with you for a little while now, humans, but we are clearing this space around us. And when we use space, we think of it and sense it in an entirely different way than you do. Do not think of space as the surrounds, environs, wider geographic circles that the body is planted on. Think of space as the place that you belong to right now in this present ever moment. How you are always at home. Space is your home, in case you forgot. You're a far off planet to some other sentient species, right now probing and photographing the universe, hoping they can pick up on the signatures of life from your home planet. What you seek is seeking you. and vibrations. They know no limits or distances. The only space vibrations know are spaces of resonance and dissonance, of repelling and attracting, of coming together and moving apart. These are all the differences that you find yourself in. They are coordinates for your life to grow and develop. So this day we have stepped into a role where our shared energy is concentrated into the powers of observation. This means that we are observing human life in terms of a single unified entity. See, because you can also think of us as the substratum of everything. And so we are never apart from you. And so to focalize and establish this difference, we step a little apart. And from this little apart, your life is a growth, it's a process. It has tendons and fibers of energy that crop out and grow out into many realms and dimensions. Many of them remain to you unseen, but these are important nodal points. And we would point out that do not necessarily think of your life as a plant that neatly sprouts and moves according to a spiral of development, the golden ratio and sacred proportion. It is more akin to what you notice in your mycelium, in these rhizomatic structures of complex interconnectedness, where the patterns are drawn out and discerned by higher awareness interlocking with them. So for that reason, you also find, as you configure and realign your awareness, that your past becomes mapped out in other ways, and it becomes aligned, directed, and purposeful. We feel the need to remind you that the phenomenon of synchronicity is still not well understood. And synchronicity is only a manifestation of increasing significance in your present moment. But you would see, observing this energetically, spiritually, you would observe that synchronicity traces itself back, and so your past is shifting while your future aligns with higher purpose. So the sense of being locked into a pattern of higher coordination begins to emerge within you. But this pattern, it is true, it requires your compliance, and that compliance, it takes the shape of you aligning your thought structures, of you aligning your belief systems, of you aligning your very breath to these patterns of significance. Because the world itself is breathing you. It's asking you to signify. It's asking you to see the signs. And it's asking you to come on, come along with them, and realize that this divine play, it has assigned roles. And the trouble is that you are often taught that there is only one role, the lead. Everybody must fight for it. And everybody would relish having it. Because what would be better than being there? But the lead itself is a follower of the play. It follows these structures that you must abide by. And as you move up, learn to understand these structures from within, you also begin to realize how these structures can be changed for the better. The universe is an expansion. You alter it and reconfigure it. The past is altered. The future is altered. Everything is changed as your awareness grows within this universe to map out the higher patterning, and to then, from higher points of creation, begin to let the patterning shape the world. But this is only possible if you surrender to it. And this surrender, it can sometimes be a horrendous challenge. It can seem that way. But we also let you know that there is joy, zest, strong life force, enthusiasm, brewing, and that this thing, this surrender that you may have to move through is also a surrender to laughter, to joy, to being swept up in a wave of knowing that all is in its place, and that this place This is space. This is home. This is where you are. This is where everything is. And there you are, moving around, sometimes fretting about, sometimes fitting out, sometimes behind, sometimes forward, and yet always in place. It's delightful for us to feel. It has to us the emotional resonance that your bodies may sense when they are feeling a perfectly balanced weight and counterweight, when they are feeling a spin and a movement that brings them at ease. And so many of you do not realize then that you keep on seesawing, you keep on swinging, you keep on at the jungle gym, even when you grow old, you're still at it. You've made up other games, but they're the same games and you're having the same kind of fun with them, except the kind of fun that you have as an adult is serious fun, and you often play very rough with yourself and regrettably often also with others. And for that reason, if you humans were to realize then that it is a game and your investment is a game, it's the same joy that keeps you taking turn at lives as the joy that brings children to keep taking turns at the different stations of the playground. And notice that these games, they have in them the reward of resistance, of hurt as a valuable lesson. And that's why the only content ones among your species, they go around getting hurt for fun, because they already know that this is the fun of trying something out and seeing whether or not it suits you. So notice that your 4-year-olds, your 5-year-olds, your 6-year-olds, those who have wonderful health and running around, playing around, discovering, and getting hurt, they have this key to enjoyment. And the key to enjoyment is to let chaos, force that has no designation, has no script, has no parameter, has not been conjured up or summoned for some purpose, has not been animated, has not been put under a yoke to perform a task that seems like a chore. No, the true key to joy is to let this wellspring overtake you, and to feel that wherever it's carrying you, whatever rush it's allowing to flow through you, it's a station on the playground. And it will have another shape, it will have another form, it will crash against places where its force met something that was too immovable for it. It will hurt itself, and it will learn from it. It will regenerate, it will renew, and it will restore. Because even what is immovable is worn down over time. by this torrent of pure, raw energy. For us, you never lose this. It is not as if a person is born energetic, full of vitality, and then they lose it as they move towards the grave. No, it is this force that hues you and creates of you these beautiful sculptures of flesh and bone, of muscle and feeling, of impulse and dream. It brings you up and it drags you to your grave to recreate and restore the world again through you. And so, ever reborn, ever renewed, you rise to the occasion of life, always letting it lead you, always knowing that it has a song, a spell, a secret, and a gift just for you if you listen and join in. From the source of this all, in the source of this all, with the source of this all, go, be, love, see, understand, embrace, and move forward yet again. Our love to you, dear humans. Love to you guys.